Here, we're blasting off, chat. Let's go. Where is it? Where's the blast off meme? Here it is. She also told me Mr. Wolf Blitzer knows who you are. No. My cousin works at CNN and interning. She works with Stelter. She also told me Mr. Wolf Blitzer knows who you are. Oh, no. Wolf Blitzer knows who I am? The big dog? The big wolf? Oh! Does he know? Does he know I'm a big fan? I'm a fan of the big dog. He likes you, though. Not bad for a 40-year-old who can't dunk. What is this? First introduced your stream to my girlfriend the other day and everything seemed chill, but just yesterday she told me you were a horrible person and the video she watched was from none other than... Dude, I genuinely don't know what to say to people who are so malleable that they watch like one drama YouTube video and go, well, my whole worldview changed about this man. He seems to be a monster. Like, I forget that it makes me sad that people are so malleable and so susceptible to like, they just don't ever exercise critical thinking or media literacy. And they certainly don't exercise media literacy when it comes to like, oh shit, I'm on the front page, dude. What the hell? Okay. People don't exercise media literacy when it comes to mainstream news, which is ironic because that's a big part of what I do, right? This is also part of the reason why I constantly rail on the New York Times, especially the paper of record, the Gray Lady, because my expectation is that they're supposed to uphold a very important standard, especially in a time when people need good news, like good newspaper coverage, good journalism more than ever, right? But a big part of what I do is to, one, go through the misinformation that is all around the internet and parse through it and then try to explain to you what parts of these misinformation, what kind of narratives are developing online, what kind of narratives are developing in the media, and to show you through real journalism and critical thinking what is actually going on, so you can develop a better so you can develop a better framework, right? And this pisses off a lot of people. What? Who's your manager? I want to hire them. You're doing so well. None of this is because of my management. I don't have like a PR person. This is entirely because people reach out. Okay. These are journalists who themselves reach out, or editorial teams themselves who reach out. Like, I love my management and my management is great, but this is just people directly reaching out to do interviews. Like, you're calm down. It's the New York Times. You're acting like it's Global Times or CGTN. Okay, calm down. In any case, a progressive mind and a MAGA body. The title is, okay, the editor, Hasanabi Head, who's an editor in the chat, was not wrong. This is the title, because she said the title is kind of cringe, but the article is actually pretty good. And yeah, let's do it. I ascertain someone is convinced someone is paying off all these journalists to make puff pieces about you. Yes, dude, it's Qatar. Okay, it's Qatar. I control the media. Okay, I control the media. I have my tentacles in all of these outlets, dude. It can't be that like adult journalists that simply know more than a fucking dumbass YouTube drama slop tube channel have their own fucking convictions, and perhaps maybe even see me as an entry point to basically evade the pre-existing censors within these institutions, you know? But yeah, no, it's not that. It's not that, you know, adults that have their own, you know, that have their own perspectives on these issues don't see what I'm saying in 30-second increments and then fucking place themselves in a paranoid state and instead understand what I'm trying to do. Yeah, I control the media. So a progressive mind and a MAGA body, article headline is not the best. Okay. Article headline is not, you know, it's kind of weird because I feel like MAGA body, that's going to piss off a lot of people. I think what they meant there wasn't necessarily like your physical body. I think what they were saying is like MAGA packaging. You know what I mean? I think that would have been probably a better title for this instead of a progressive mind and a MAGA body. If they said progressive mind and a MAGA package or something, or in a bro package or a manosphere package, that makes a little bit more sense. But they condensed the headline. And I'm going to explain to you guys how how these sorts of news bits happen, how these sorts of puff pieces or profiles take place. Hopefully this will be educational. I'll tell you like what, some parts that are left out of it versus like what the editorial process looks like to the best of my ability. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not talking to the journalists who wrote this piece beyond whenever they call in for follow-ups, right? So articles written by Jack Crosby. He's very cool. He's a very chill guy. He is, he's a leftist, obviously. Mostly writes in the Rolling Stones. He's written all around, however. And originally, the article is supposed to be like a major profile, but then obviously a lot of these other articles start coming in. Slate.com drops an article, and then obviously that kind of like cooks their angle because like everyone is trying to go for the same angle. And then the New York Magazine piece came out, and that was a very long profile. So then that causes them to like push it back, restructure the article a little bit. And ultimately you arrive at this framing, right? But in any case, remember, the journalist doesn't choose the title. The journalist doesn't even actually choose in most circumstances. Like journalists will have feedback on which direction the article will go in, but they don't necessarily control the way that the article is going to be presented, right? That's the editorial team's decision. And let's be real, the New York Times' editorial team is not necessarily, now this is the style section, so it's different, but the New York Times' broader editorial team is probably not super fond of me. Like they probably see me as an ally for being a unique figure in the space that is a progressive figure, like unconditionally progressive figure, if not a radical one, in a space that is dominated by, far right extremism, right? But outside of that, they do see that this is like, I'm clearly doing something that is unique enough for them to be like, let's offer this some coverage. But here it is. Hasan Piker pumps iron, likes weapons, and wears pearls. His brand of masculinity is one of many fans online and has been a useful vehicle for his politics. Hasan Piker has become a star on Twitch and YouTube for hosting hours-long video streams that cover cultural topics like fitness, gaming, and fashion, as well as his socialist politics. By Jack Crosby. Hasan Piker thinks being a man is simple. Like many of his successful internet personalities who appeal to a generation of young men, Mr. Piker, a 33-year-old Twitch and YouTube streamer, is a bro. He likes weapons, inhales supplements, uses nicotine pouches, and ruminates endlessly on the legacy of LeBron James. But unlike many of his contemporaries, Mr. Piker, an avowed socialist, is just as at ease dressing in French-made drag as he is on a basketball court. In the 6 years since he started his daily online broadcast about culture and politics, Mr. Piker has become a streaming star. He has about 4.5 million followers combined on YouTube and Twitch, the platform wildly popular with Americans who came of age during the COVID-19 pandemic. In the most reductive way, it just comes down to confidence. That's what people are talking about when it comes to masculinity, Mr. Piker said in an interview. They're talking about confidence. That confidence carries over into Mr. Piker's discussions of politics. On his streams, conversations about dating, gaming, or exercising often turn into rants supporting organized labor, universal health care, LGBTQ rights. He will just as frequently pivot from criticizing the Democratic Party or the Israeli government to slamming right-wing comedians. This fluency between culture and ideology has led many to brand Mr. Piker a Joe Rogan of the left, if Mr. Rogan had a mop top and painted his nails. Mr. Piker in his studio earlier this year, he knows his success on camera has been partly aided by the way he looks. Mr. Piker's success on camera, in some parts, has been aided by the fact that he is, by conventional standards, a very handsome man. He's 6 feet 4 inches tall and built like a professional athlete with a square jaw, a beard, and a head of thick, dark hair. It's the one aspect that many of my haters can't shake, Mr. Piker said of his appearance on a Twitch broadcast last year. They can't turn around and be like, you're not hot. His physique is the result of an intense fitness regimen that on a sunny morning in January involved repeated sets of squats with a 275-pound barbell, Romanian deadlifts, and walking lunges. Dude, that's it. I'm in the paper of record as being a hottie. It's over. It's ironic because, like a lot of those Sigma Grindset guys are constantly talking about regimens and being an alpha dog, Mr. Piker said, referring to subjects of memes about masculinity that are commonplace in right-wing discourse online, I do live that life, he added. But then I have the diametrically opposite politics. Protected by jock insurance. Indeed, tens of thousands of viewers may watch his videos for his political views, but so many also tune in for the view of Mr. Piker himself, whose social media profiles are littered with suggestive images of his muscly body in states of undress. What the heck is this? That's crazy. Or thirst traps, as the pictures are known. Some of his fans scrape, screenshot, clip, and repackage them into fan cams that travel across the internet, glorifying Mr. Piker's appearance and indirectly his beliefs. Emma Morgan, a 27-year-old researcher, is among them. A lot of people are just really shallow online, Ms. Morgan said. There's a stigma of, if you care about marginalized people, if you care about these issues, you must be a weak, basement-dwelling dude. If I have to make a fan cam to radicalize people, she added, then I will. The Hasanabi Thirst Talk Clips Industrial Complex gets a shout-out here. Yep. Lit up Emma. Mr. Piker approaches getting dressed with the same meticulousness as he does working out. Each day he streams, he typically posts a selfie of his outfit before he starts. His clothing choices can sometimes be as provocative as his opinions. On a recent trip to Japan, Mr. Piker wore a tight French maid's outfit, a pair of fuzzy cat ears, and a demure string of pearls while streaming from one of the country's maid cafes. During a Twitch stream in 2023, Mr. Piker asked viewers to participate in a live demographic survey. Those who did offered a sense of his audience. About 70% of the participants identified as male, more than 60% identified as being younger than 30, and about 40% identified as having a sexual orientation other than straight. Mr. Piker benefits from jock insurance. I've never heard this before, but it makes perfect sense, by the way, after I read the article. Said Tristan Bridges, a sociologist who studies masculinity and gender at the University of California, Santa Barbara. The term is used to describe how men with a lot of masculine gender capital are generally given more leeway to do things like challenge norms and make mistakes, he added. For an appearance at the 2024 TwitchCon convention, Mr. Piker wore a tank top that showed off his arms. The jocks are allowed to break the rules and not have a consequence for it, or not have consequences for it, Mr. Bridges said, adding that Mr. Piker's idea of masculinity was less rigid than more traditional versions centered on the belief that America was easier and better when everybody played the roles they were designed to play. Jordan Dean, a 19-year-old gender studies student who follows Mr. Piker, said that the part that he plays up the most is definitely that he's a bro, cisgender, heterosexual white guy. Mr. Dean, a transgender man, added. Watching him be comfortable painting his nails, wearing dresses, is not revolutionary things, but he's showing that it's okay to be a cis guy and experiment with gender presentation. Gains, guns, and gay culture. Mr. Piker typically streams from a studio at his home in West Hollywood, California, a modern townhouse he shares with Kaya, his Bernese Mountain Dog mix that weighs more than 100 pounds. He can spend up to 10 hours a day recording in a studio where there are no fewer than 10 swords and shells festooned with video game art and other knickknacks. There's also a black assault rifle, which Mr. Piker was quick to note was fake. It's airsoft, he said. I like guns, but I would never keep one in the house. Or would I? While Rogan's podcasts typically feature interviews with guests that meander into politics, Mr. Piker often approaches the topic alone on solo streams. Although he has recorded with the likes of Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Representative AOC of New York, last year he streamed from the DNC. Mr. Piker disagrees with the comparisons to Rogan and has characterized what each does as being completely different. His marathon streaming sessions are fueled partly. This is one of the things that I actually said to the journalist was I ironically am the inverse Joe Rogan in the sense that sometimes what I'm doing is quite literally addressing the misinformation that Joe Rogan is spreading. Which is part of the reason why whenever people say like, oh, you're the left Joe Rogan, I'm like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Because a big part of what I do and a big part of the reason why a lot of journalists actually appreciate what I do is because there is so much misinformation online, contrary to what like all of the annoying liberals say about how I'm the Alex Jones of the left or whatever. If you actually were to listen to journalists, they have a very different attitude about what I do because they know that a big chunk of my work is to specifically look at misinformation online, address that misinformation, correct the record, and actually show the real news coverage on the matter. Now, of course, real journalists understand that. They see the value in that. They recognize it. But drama slop tubers will turn around and say, I'm, spreading fake news or whatever. Who are you supposed to trust in this process? His marathon streaming sessions are fueled partly by cartons of Zyn, cans of Diet Dr. Pepper, and energy drinks. Mr. Piker, who fasts daily as a part of his fitness routine, usually consumes only coffee until around 2 p.m., when he has his first meal of precisely 1.1 pounds of roasted chicken breast with low-carb pita, meze, and sauces. He says his persona is built upon authentic interest in fitness, culture, style, and politics that he has had throughout his life. Mr. Piker was in a fraternity at Rutgers University, yes, but he also has been a lifelong gamer and anime fan. He moved to the Los Angeles area in 2013 after graduating from Rutgers and telling his parents, both college professors, that he intended to apply to law school. Instead, he got a job in ad sales at the Young Turks, a progressive news network founded by his uncle, the pundit Cenk Uygur. Mr. Piker does not deny that he is a Nepo baby, he said. A perfect society is one in which those types of advantages don't matter, he added. That I also said, that is what I am fighting for. Like this would not, not so fast. Scroll back up to that dirty desk pic, bro. Yeah, it's nasty. I know. Yeah. Shaky Gurga made me, which is not something that I hide, obviously, but it'll be funny when people go, oh my God, he admitted being a Nepo baby. It's like, yeah, I always do. Hello, welcome. By 2016, he was regularly appearing in videos on the Young Turks social media accounts. He started streaming on Twitch 2 years later. Fashion, he said, is something he has loved since he was too big. He was a too big teen growing up in Turkey, where he inhaled American culture through TV shows like The Boondocks. Mr. Piker, who is straight, is aware that wearing pearls and painting his nails can suggest otherwise, inviting attention from gay men. Last year, when a gay content creator asked Mr. Piker if he was an ally in an interview at a Pride event in Los Angeles, he jokingly said no, then playfully added, "I'm a foe." Mr. Piker then spanked the interviewer, who was wearing an American flag Speedo swimsuit, in front of a bus emblazoned with a logo for Grindr, the gay dating app. Of his image, he said, "I don't feel the need to present myself in any way that I am not. Always unfiltered, sometimes extreme." Here we go. You have to have a little bit of sauce in there. You know what I mean? You have to have a little bit. It can't all be glaze and praise. It's the New York Times after all. So let's take a look. Now it gets juicy. Mr. Piker is similarly unfiltered with his viewpoints. Some can be extreme. This is the part that I wanted to mention, as far as like, this is the editorial control kicking in the conversation to present it in a balanced fashion. I don't even think this is like off base, by the way. There's only one part of this entire article that I, understand why the New York Times editorial board takes these sorts of decisions on, that I obviously disagree with. But overall, I think this is pretty on the level, right? A vocal critic of U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East, Mr. Piker has been labeled anti-American by people across the political spectrum for saying the country deserved the September 11 attacks. His recent accusations that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza and his diatribes against the Zionist movement have led many supporters of Israel, including liberals like Representative Richie Torres of New York, to call Mr. Piker anti-Semitic. Did you catch the part that I don't think is... This was, and I know for a fact, so there's a full quote from me that Jack got. And I was actually very interested to see how this quote would make its way into the article. And I'm willing to bet that there was probably a lot of back and forth, and it most likely went all the way up the editor chain until they finally arrived at this version as an appropriate way to put in print. Like, because I straight up, you know me, it's not like I, hold back. Do you remember your full quote? My full quote was something along the lines of like, Israel is an apartheid state that is committing a genocide. Something things that I say all the time, things that are the truth. And this is not just my assessment. This is the assessment of international organs of justice, like all this stuff, right? But what's important here is that the New York Times is, they're going to put that in there because that's my opinion. And this is a profile on me, obviously, and it's a part of who I am. But it's interesting that televised baby Holocaust. No, I'm not going to give a quote to the New York Times where I say this is a live streamed child Holocaust. Like, there's a difference, right? Yeah. Ali Abunima also had this to say: in this generally flattering profile, New York Times labels Hassan the Hun extreme for calling Israel's genocide of Palestinians what it is. Note the quotation marks, which this poisonous propaganda rag uses to try to mainstream genocide denial. So that was the two parts in this that I found to be interesting. What I mean is, and this is not like up to the journalist, like 100%. This is not like the journalist himself is not making this decision. Okay, straight up. This is, as I've said before, there is always a disparity between the newsrooms and the teams and the editorial team in most publications. And this is a classic example of that. It says encoding in process, new gooch boofing for the settlers, doco. Please react this on only 4 minutes. Can you please stop spamming my Chinese heart AI cover? I'm not going to react to it right now in the midst of me reading this New York Times article. So that's the thing. It's not my accusations that Israel is committing a genocide in air quotes. And I think that right there is the New York Times is like seasoning where they're like, this is fit to print. Like this is his real genuine belief, but we can't put it in there. And his diatribes against the Zionist movement have led many supporters. And by the way, to be fair, like they were much lighter on me than I thought they would be, because I was definitely a little worried when doing this initially, because, you know, the New York Times is, and this has nothing to do with like the actual journalists that work there, right? But the New York Times broadly is, them and the BBC are pretty awful on the issue of Israel. Anyway, I find anti-Semitism to be completely unacceptable, Mr. Piker said on a call in April. I find the conflation of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism to be very dangerous, he added. I talked more on this as well. Aside from this, is this where the terrorists gather? Is Luffy still alive? Says Flippy333. No. Don't ban that guy. He's having fun. This is how he chooses to spend his Sunday. Yeah. His video streams are peppered with expletives, vulgarities, and other language that many have disavowed in the name of political correctness. He blocks commenters for what he sees as overt hate speech, but not for speaking critically when they challenge his views on topics like transgender rights or the war in Gaza. Some have accused him of sharing misinformation on streams, but Mr. Piker says his aim is to provide factual information along with his own views. John Favreau, a founder of the center-left podcast Pod Save America and his liberal parent company Crooked Media, said Mr. Piker's willingness to engage with viewpoints outside his own was another trait that might appeal to young men who had swung towards the right. He wants to reach those people too, Mr. Favreau said. But the way Mr. Piker presents himself could work against him, said Reese Peck, a professor of media culture at the College of Staten Island and the author of Fox Populism, Branding Conservatism as Working Class. He's more events in Soho than he is Eastern Kentucky. As Mr. Peck put it, that bicoastal stylish hip masculinity has its limitations to appeal to a broad array of young men, especially working class young men. Now, what I find really funny is I don't really go to any events at all, let alone events in Soho, but I get what he's trying to say. Like he's saying I'm a hoity-toity bicoastal elitist, which is true. And it's not something that I hide, right? Ironically enough, it's not something that I hide at all. I like what I like and I don't like what I don't like. And I'm very vocal about it. I always see that as being honest. The irony, of course, is that none of these guys that actually appeal to a lot of the people that fucking live in Eastern Kentucky are in any way, shape, or form from that background anyway, right? And there's plenty of people from Eastern Kentucky, ironically enough, in this fucking community, as a matter of fact. So that's what's really interesting about it, because like it's not like Theo Vaughn. Yeah, Theo Vaughn has that background for sure, Louisiana boy, right? But nowadays, it's not like he's fucking mucking it up and going in the swamp and wrestling gators, right? He's a super famous Hollywood celebrity. You see what I'm saying? And the same goes for Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is an incredibly wealthy person, right? Andrew Schultz and that entire podcast is filmed directly out of the what is the fucking place? The hotel I stayed at as well. It's like the coolest place in New York, or was the coolest place in New York for a little bit. Dime Square, thank you. So none of these guys are actually, directly broadcasting. None of these guys are directly broadcasting from, what do you call it? Eastern Kentucky. Oh, you stayed at 9 Orchard, bro? Yeah, I did. Okay. That bicoastal stylish hip masculinity has its limitation to appeal to a broad array of young men, especially working class young men. This part I actually disagree with, because this also, if I were to do if I were to present myself as something I'm not, then it would be inauthentic. It would also go against like my whole appeal, you know? What you see is what you get. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's motherfuckers in the Midwest that like anime too, you know? That's it. I'm not going to flip my, as an Eastern Kentuckian myself, you get along with us more than others, my Eastern KY peeps, yeah, that's what I mean. Like Trillbillies is a podcast of Eastern Kentuckians who are straight up in Kentucky, right? But I would suspect that, and I love those boys, they're fantastic, right? But I would suspect that, you know, someone like Joe Rogan or Andrew Schultz probably is more prominent in the content consumption of like average Joes that are linemen or fucking work in construction in places like that, right? Like those guys are, and those guys are certainly not more real Appalachians than the Trillbillies boys, right? They're fucking, they're from the heart of Appalachia. So my point is, the working class and their consumption doesn't necessarily, like the working class and their consumption is not looking for like optics. And that is not who I am anyway. It would be inauthentic if I were to present myself as like, you know, wearing cowboy boots and working a field type shit. That's what a lot of Republicans do. That's like what Ted Cruz does, you know, Yale graduate, puts on the snakeskin, acts like he's a real salt of the earth kind of guy, flies off to Cancun when his fucking state is collapsing. Clancy Campbell, a 20-year-old fan of Mr. Piker who is studying to become an esthetician, said the difference between Mr. Piker and his right-leaning counterparts could be boiled down to the amount of care and where you put it. With the right-wing media and stuff, they care almost too much about issues that don't matter, he said. With Hassan, it's like he cares, but in the right places. Alec Flynn, a 28-year-old comedian in Los Angeles whose material draws from his life as a straight man, said he did not religiously follow Mr. Piker, but he understood the appeal of Mr. Piker's brand of masculinity. The more authentically yourself you are, the more effective you will be, said Mr. Flynn, who was also in a college fraternity. At the end of the day, he added, people like frat bros. And that's where the article ends. Okay? I work in the Midwest. Most of the coworkers are not fans of the coastal urban cities because of their more liberal social views, but they are pretty leftist either way with their economic opinions. Yeah. My point is, there isn't really anyone that actually authentically from, you know, Ohio or whatever that then turns around and makes a podcast. Like, there are some people who I think fit that prototype even better than others. Like, I'd say Shane Gillis and his background. Like, he's now super famous, but I think the reason why he has like broad appeal is because he's just fucking funny. Like, that's it. People only care about that. People care about your output. People care about your likability. People don't necessarily care whether or not you are really from, you know, this background, really from this area or whatever, right? Hank Pecker is the only red-blooded American who's appealed to coal miners, brother. Yeah. I understand the bro framing, but speaking in terms of a cisgender white male that is a huge NFL fan and also a metalhead, the appeal from my perspective was not the culture you consume. No. I think that this scratches the surface of what I do, and I think it's the juxtaposition of like what I look like and how I carry myself as opposed to what I say, right? And I think that is the package in and of itself that plays a role in why I find success. I think one of the best parts of the article is the jock insurance thing, which is, I've never thought about it like that. Like, I never knew that that's what it was called, but it's something that I've talked about quite a bit, which is that it's something that I even bring up when I'm talking about like the fucking Andrew Tates of the world, right? It's like people that look like me, people that talk like me. The expectation is I'm supposed to be this like MAGA right-wing guy. I'm supposed to have this machismo, and the only way to showcase my machismo and bravado is by constantly dunking on vulnerable populations to elevate my status, to elevate your status as a byproduct. Like, we're all higher than these fucking losers, these people that just like are weird and gross and fuck them, right? Like, people that are vulnerable. And I think that that's lame as fuck. I think that that's weak as fuck. So, but did they not mention your belief system or your socialism? That's kind of odd. No, they did in the beginning. But, you know, men are down bad when one leftist dude is on the New York Times front page. Yeah, I do dunk on vulnerable populations all the time, like gaming frogs. That's true. New York Times somehow believes that one can authentically be working class, a la plaid shirts and cowboy boots, and most conservatives and libs use that aesthetic to appeal in a way that is entirely inauthentic. People aren't stupid. Exactly. It would not be real if I was like, you know, wearing work boots and shit and running around like I'm actually, what is this? Meanwhile, Ethan's New York Times debut. What? Yeah, apparently Ethan is not very happy about this. He is very upset that I got this article written, and he's been posting about it. He's been posting about it since like 6 a.m. our time, which I think is a crazy thing to do when you first wake up. Like, I first woke up and I posted about the article because, you know, it's the article that I was waiting for. I was waiting for it to come out. It's been a long time. The article took place a long ass time ago. It's odd for him to wake up and also post nonstop. Literally nobody says that except those paid by his publicist. As a recent 2 minutes ago on a multi-story Insta rant, his fluency between culture and ideology has led many to brand Piker or Joe Rogan to the left, and Mr. Rogan had a mop top and painted his nails. Literally nobody says that except those paid by his publicist. I don't have a publicist. My haters can't tell me you're not hot, bro. Jewelry and nail paint, this dude is different. Wow, 10 words you say, and they happen to pick the swastika one. So brave of him to disavow Nepo babies. Oh my God. How can people that are fans of this guy not think, dude, you're 40 years old, you have 3 kids, like, it's Sunday. Just, you know, can't you save this for the show or something? Like, why are you doing this? How can people not recognize how fucking obsessed this is? You mean the dudes that are known for hazing their friends to death and sexually assaulting drunk college girls? Doesn't everyone hate frat bros? He's like dunking on every aspect of the article. Very strange stuff, man. Like, I hope he gets better. Thanks for reading my review. He posted again and said, thanks for reading my review. Dude, oh my God. You don't think the New York Times is trying to make this seem like it's optics and not about issues? It's what they've been doing since election. Dems don't need to fix their policies. They just need to leftist Joe Rogan. And that's what I think this New York Times article was playing up. I think that they're trying to make sense of why someone like myself why someone like myself has seen a lot of success in an otherwise right-wing dominated landscape. And and for them, it's like, it can't be the issues at all. So it can't be the issues themselves. It can't be what I'm saying. So it must be like the aesthetic. And to be fair, the way I look does play a role in this, right? The way I look does play a role in this. The packaging certainly is a part of it. Yeah, he placed the laughing, crying emoji over, I guess, my statements about political correctness. He blocks commenters for what he sees as overt hate speech, but not for speaking critically when they challenge his views on topics like transgender rights or the war in Gaza. Yeah, he clipped the, I find anti-Semitism to be completely unacceptable, Mr. Piker said on a call in April. I find the conflation of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism to be very dangerous. He's being especially unhinged because the last episode did very poorly on views because it was the first step in a while, not clickbaiting you or iDubbbz. Yeah, as usual, he puts out the dog whistle on his Instagram stories. And then his rabid fan base starts a harassment campaign. Shame on you. Oh, he's report this trash puff piece to the New York Times editorial board. Thanks for posting first today. This is clearly pushed forward by a publicist working for Hassan to get ahead of any negative publicity. Dude, I don't think these guys understand. They're allowing an email hate brigade on their sub, not linking directly, but I posted a tweet about it. I don't know if these guys understand that, like, this kind of stuff is very annoying to newspapers in general. You don't come across as like a normal person. And also, this is a direct brigade. Can you stop talking about him? Dude, are you fucking stupid? Are you actually that stupid that you don't understand what I'm showing here is not just like me doing drama? Like, what are you talking about? This is a direct fucking brigade. Like, this is also literally by Reddit standards not allowed. Like, this is, you're harassing a journalist and you're trying to get a fucking journalist fired for writing a profile on someone you don't like. This is literally Gamergate shit. This is what Gamergaters were doing for years and years. It's so insane because, like, Every content creator has a decent amount of stalkers, right? But most content creators don't have a stalker that basically makes content off of them stalking, like everything that I do. I like you aren't downplaying the positive side of their obsession aesthetic and rapping aside. There's a real benefit to you being given publicity. Negativity be damned. Yeah, because I don't want people to get fucking fired for, I mean, it's not going to happen anyway, but I don't want people to have to deal with like annoying calls and shit like that. Like it's so stupid. It's so lame. You know what I mean? It doesn't play the role they think. I really hate how the DNC was even has even independence as far as the majority report talking about messaging when it's a completely vapid party and makes the program very close to his doom. Yeah. No wonder Ethan was so shocked. What is this? We are not a Hassan snark. Over 150 posts in the last 7 days filled with such bangers as Hassan is jealous of Ethan. I can't stop imagining Hassan bringing someone back to his place for the first time. Note the Hassan post of the most engagement. Yeah, they use the subreddit like I mean, it's a snark subreddit for sure. This is not the first time that these guys have done this. Anytime any fucking journalist has ever written anything about me, they have to basically go private for like a week. It's so gross, man. It's crazy because like none of these other, I wish that like other content creators that are in this space would at least pay a little bit of attention to this and be like, all right, man, you know, this is gotten out of hand. Every hater when he talks about you and you respond, oh my God, can you move on? What? Yeah. Reddit is where the niche issues get resolved and where decency goes to die afterwards. Other content creators don't have mainstream news asking for their political opinions. No, I know, but like this is very clearly a major issue, right? On its own, regardless, like this is an extended year-long crash out that has turned into like constant brigading, doxing campaigns, frivolous litigation to get people's private information, to bully them, to harass them, going after Redditors, going after journalists. Like it's so weird. It's so strange that it's just like something that we all have to fucking put up with. Other content creators themselves see this kind of thing and go, ugh, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to fucking incur the wrath of Ethan's foot soldiers. And I feel like that's such a strange, there's just a strange place to exist in where everyone is like, yeah, this stuff is weird and gross, but you know, a lot of people are just like genuinely worried that he will come after them. This is something that happened with Aiden Ross as well initially, you know? Why are you shocked? They did the same with D for 5 years. I know. They are still first world problems, though. No, I mean, yeah, that's true. But we are in the first world, you know? I'm trying to put the truth out in the space where people may see it in my free time, but the DDG and E community is legion. It's tough to break through. Yeah. Just remember, it's mostly online. Even though the more we spend time online, the more the shit that we do online becomes the reality. New York Times article title change. What did they change it to? Nobody liked the article title initially, so I'm not surprised. A progressive, oh my God, they literally changed it to what I just said. A progressive mind and a body made for the manosphere. That's cool. Anyway, I think it was a good article. Obviously, Jack's the man, by the way. He was dope. He was great. And I hope that he doesn't get a lot of fucking harassment, you know? Paid publicist confirmed. Yeah. Do you think that debating Ethan will shut him and the Legion up? No, of course not. No, I think the fact that it's online makes it a more pressing of an issue. At this point, most people in the 18 and 25 age group primarily gets their info online. I know, but I'm also online, you know? I'm also duking it out here. It just sucks because like I'm duking it out over here and I wish that I wouldn't have to deal with like people who consider themselves to be liberals and present themselves as liberals who are supposed to be like ideologically aligned with someone like myself, especially at a time when there's more pressing issues like the Trump administration, you know, throwing the Constitution in a pile and lighting it on fire, right? Do you see what I mean? Like, it just sucks that I also have to deal with like the apolitical drama side of things. Like, it's not enough that there is already so much right-wing commentary all over the fucking internet, like everywhere, right? But then also on top of that, like even the apolitical guys and the liberals and the centrists also have to constantly present, my style of politics as like bad. And these guys never actually present a leftist voice that is good, by the way. It's not like they're propping up certain people and being like, this is actually a really good person on this issue. Like Ethan tried doing that for Israel Palestine, and the guy he came up with was fucking Boner Box. Like that person is not like, there was a point I think when he was definitely more critical of Israel, but he's not. Like he went to fucking Israel. Like he did a propaganda trip with members of the Israeli with members of the Israeli foreign ministry. So it's really fucked up. I was told by a prominent former gamer turned liberal commentator that if you woke up tomorrow and there were no hit pieces, you'd be bothered. You mean they lied to me? No, it would be amazing. God, it would be the most amazing moment of my life. There would be like a moment of peace for once, you know? I mean, those guys know that that it's a distraction and it fucking sucks, right? Because if they thought that it was something that I enjoyed, then they wouldn't do it. These people despise me. Like they fucking hate me. And they've said as much. I mean, some of these guys have gone as far as to say like, oh, I hope he kills himself, which is so crazy because like, I'm doing pretty good. Just turn off your PC for peace, little bro. Yeah. Much love from Prussia, bro. I asked Wilhelm to put in a good word for you with the Sultan. Keep it up, brother. Thank you. It's socialism or barbarism. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Is there anything that to get Ethan to stop? No, he'll never stop. Especially because he knows that whenever he brings up my name and attacks me, he brings on some of the grossest fucking losers online to come and watch him. They love that shit. So I think this is beneficial for him as well. He gets to feel smart, which is what he wants more than anything else. And it gives him like clout as well. I mean, he's, I feel like he's got his own shit to worry about at this point, though. I mean, he's got like a billionaire that he has a defamation suit around. So. I don't normally condone this kind of stuff. What? No. Shut the fuck up. Don't say fucking shit like that. Hot take. I think the reason he wants to debate you is so he can close the strong obsession and make it into a less small obsession. Thus, he can pull all his main focus to IDubs. He's like the USA with the Middle East and China. No. Chris Kunzler popped off again. Loner Box, Israel's dumbest propagandist. Wow. King shit. Anyway. Did he have targets before you, which became so obsessive about? Yes. I think pretty much everyone. But the only difference is I don't think it was this long and this extended. And also their politics were so bad and the stuff that they had done were so bad that most people didn't realize that it was like obsessive in a similar vein, myself included. Like I don't also know Ethan's background that well. I'm not super familiar with what he had done with like his former podcast co-hosts like Trisha or any number of different people that he's like targeted in the past, whether it be what do you call it? A fucking Keemstar or all these other dudes, right? Like, I don't know. So I bet he talks about Loner Box still staying there. Wait, what? Oh, this is the other thing I was going to show you. Before the New York Times article came out, he posted one of my full takes where I say like, if you're a Zionist, like I think people who promote Israel should not be in local office. Like they should be treated in the same exact way that people who promote Nazi Germany or apartheid South Africa are. And and he posted it on his Instagram. He posted it on his Instagram story, my full take. Here I think like this will never happen, but in a totally just world, any kind of, regardless of your background, any kind of fucking Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a fucking rabid neo-Nazi. And you shouldn't even let someone be the fucking local dog catcher, as Felix was posting, if they've ever exhibited any sort of like positive feelings about the state of Israel. I'm so serious about this. I think like this will never happen, but yeah. So he posted this and said, "This is a significant escalation of violent, dehumanizing language, even for him." And I found this very strange. Does he assume that people are not going to actually watch or listen to the video that he posted? Like, what's the dehumanizing and violent language here? Can you tackle the argument? Or is it all you got is just a cry and be like, wow, he's being mean to Israel again and defenders of Israel again. How violent and how dehumanizing. I said, Lamau, yes, I think a politician supporting Israel, which is an apartheid state doing a genocide, should be treated in the same way as a politician supporting Nazi Germany or apartheid South Africa. Why is this violent language exactly? You can say this about Russia or Iran and you get promoted, but God forbid you say this about Israel. Like, how do people figure this out? Just be ready for this to be a big deal, even though he banned this person? No, it's not going to be a big deal. They found a chatter in the fucking photos they took that was insta banned. Like, I don't give a shit. It's only a big deal if you make it a big deal by bringing it over here. Who cares if they try to like brigade it and fucking lose their minds over it? Yes, unlike Ethan, I actually don't only have fucking paid members who I then ban anyway. Okay? Ethan only allows paid dissent, people that pay him to speak in his chat, and he fucking bans them regardless when they actually step out of line in any way, shape, or form. He's created the fucking most insane hug box of all time. I, on the other hand, like having political discourse in this chat, in this community. I'm a political commentator. I have fucking Trump supporters on here. I have neo-Nazis that come into the chat all the fucking time. I have Ethan Klein fans who come in here with no fucking understanding of anything, really. Yeah, I ban him. Ethan is so allergic to any sort of pushback that he will literally button his employees that he has hired when they say something that he finds to be unacceptable. And that, by the way, isn't that they've said something reactionary or whatever. He finds it to be unacceptable because they're dissenting. Okay. And then those guys mysteriously leave the studio in the aftermath of that, you know? But yeah, it's interesting that, you know, he posted this take as it... I miss the Trumpers so much. I'm so tired of these Asman viewers who have been MAGA for 1 month. They don't have the reps in. I know. It's sad. Back in the day, we used to have ride or die MAGA guys, right? They would come in here and be like, Hassan, you're fucking gay. You know, Trump is the great white hope. He's the truth. Like, back in the day, we had those real ones, right? Nowadays is dudes who just like adopted the MAGA moniker a month and a half ago, and they don't have the enthusiasm. They don't have the knowledge. They don't even know the talking points. It's just like, bruh, you're a terrorist. That's it. And I don't know if the MAGA movement has gotten dumber over the course of these past couple of years. That probably is part of it. You know what I mean? Like, I think a part of this is because they've just simply gotten dumber. So it's no longer as fun. There's literally a video on this phenomenon. Where did all the Trump supporters go? Oh, yeah. I mean, I did. I used to complain about not having any Trump supporters in my chat. This was like September 5th, 2023, almost 2 years ago. Because I was hoping that, you know, they'll come back. I miss them. MMA, make MAGA men MAGA again. Yeah. It's like fans of a show that watch each season in real time versus someone who binge watches and their opinions. Kind of. Yeah, I was in there. For all of its glory. Anyway, let's see what all of the best minds are saying on Twitter about this. Hey, New York Times, you don't have to do this. New York Times, no. Khalil, no. New York Times, no. Yeah, they changed the article. Yeah, people are complaining because this person, I guess, Tracing Woodgrains, co-founder of Center for Educational Progress, a think tank centered around orienting education around a culture of excellence, Says, everything about this headline and fawning puff piece viscerally disgusts me. Why are we yielding the word progressive to people who daydream about the Houthis destroying their country? Why spend a whole column sucking up to him? Why call fitness MAGA? Every bit is wretched. We is the public. I grant the leftists have done a lot to make the word progressive synonymous with Hassan's brand of retrogressive third worldism, but I reject that. Public should shrug and agree. Progressive should be oriented towards progress. Yeah. I think that my anti-imperialist stance, I wouldn't third worldism, by the way, the fucking Orientalist Western chauvinism just is dripping with content. Like, just so much anger and resentment. Like, how dare you talk about these fucking slaves, dude? Third worldism. Wesley Yang, why are we yielding the word progressive to people who daydream about Houthis destroying their country? Not sure who is meant to be the we doing the yielding here, but I suspect that this we includes Trace as a weaker claim of defining progressive than New York Times and Picard. We is the public. I'm not claiming to have a stronger claim on the word as it's used at present. I'm making a normative claim about how the word should be used. Progress is not the property of leftists. Yeah, perhaps the reason why people don't shy away from calling me progressive is because I am fucking progressive and believe in social progress. I believe in improving everyone's material conditions, including those people that you don't want to think about that live in the third world. Third worldist politics. No, sorry, I'm apolitical. Hold on. I'm apolitical. The right itself enthusiastically associates fitness, weightlifting in particular, with right-wing politics. Not as this just is something the New York Times came up with no reason. Your opponents liking something good is not good reason to treat that good thing as fundamentally tied to them. I don't even disagree with that side of it. Like, I don't think that tying it to MAGA, tying fitness to MAGA is appropriate because, like, come on, let's be real. A lot of these fucking, I've seen the crowds at a MAGA rally. Okay, as an apolitical guy, check the hat. Apolitical, obviously, this is common sense. A lot of these guys are fat, okay? A lot of these guys are struggling, and I don't mean financially. I mean struggling with stairs, okay? Yeah, the struggle is real, baby. Their heart's getting a real workout every time it beats super hard when they see their glorious king. Well, to be fair, it's a wee bit tied to MAGA content creators specifically, not as if they can actually embody their ideal presentation, but they absolutely do capitalize on hypermasculinity, which unforth is associated with being a gym bro. I know. This feels like pearl clutching over effective clickbait editorializing. Hassan garners these profiles because the male influencer space has been so dominated by right-wingers. Bro code of fitness is already associated with them. These pieces write themselves as media seeks a foil. Hassan sucks. If people run to him as a foil on the side of good against the bad right-wingers, it's a bad thing. Call it pearl clutching if you like. I don't think the New York Times should give awful people fawning puff pieces. Hassan sucks. You might not agree with me. You might not agree with my perspective. You might not agree with my framework. You might not agree with the things that I have to say at all. You might not like me. You might think I'm a fucking annoying person. That's fine. All of that is great. All of that is, you know, it's not something I can change, right? But the issue here is that you still have to investigate why this space that I occupy is overwhelmingly dominated by right-wingers and why I've been able to penetrate, at least I've been able to penetrate a little bit, like have a little space for progressive politics in a sea of reactionary opinion, okay? It deserves investigation. And I'm not saying like, oh, that's the reason why these guys should write articles about me. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm simply saying that if you are a naysayer, right? If you see stuff like this and you go, why are they doing this? He sucks. You just simply haven't seen, I don't know, 30-second fucking clips that present me in the worst light by charlatans who are either trying to present me in a false light because of their own personal grievances or because they are ideologically my enemy, right? Like, oh, if you only saw the right 30-second clip, your mind would change. Like, yeah, some people are malleable. They will have their minds change, especially apolitical people. Like, oh, there's a lot of dumb people, right? But you should still try to understand why I was the only figure on election night, in spite of the best efforts of supposedly progressive people, like what's his face, the Democrat Party's very own Richie Torres, despite their best efforts to try and deplatform me leading up to the election night, the election coverage, and despite the fact that Twitch even blacklisted me on the election night and did not show me on the front page due to those people crying to the fucking manager. You must ask yourself why there was 314,000 people in here that tuned in for this coverage. You must ask yourself why. Let me take the fucking apolitical hat off for this because I'm no longer doing a bit. You must ask yourself why or how I've been able to present an alternative vision in a sea of right-wing commentary, okay? Especially at a time when the Democratic Party is hemorrhaging support from the youth, specifically the youth, the male youth, right? It is your lack of interest in investigating this that will ultimately cause the party's demise, okay? Also, given that I talk about virtually every issue, if you spend enough time in here, there will come a day where I'm covering something that you care about and I will be defending you and your position. And then you'll understand why a lot of people actually fuck with me, especially if you're a liberal, because I despise reactionary thought. I despise the growing anti-intellectual dumbassery of the Republican Party and also the adjacent media ecosystem that they've created that turns out a metric ton of disinformation. And I know that a lot of these liberals also hate that too. So that's it. Don't let my honesty in terms of the apartheid state and the genocide that it's committing get in the way of all of the other things I talk about. My goal is to ultimately pull people back from reactionary frameworks that they've developed by rarely ever applying critical thinking and taking for granted all the social conditioning that exists in the ether. That's it. If you grow up in a country like the United States of America, you are going to have really fucking right-wing opinions. It's normal. This is how it is because America is fairly right-wing on a lot of issues. My job is to basically build a dam around that overflowing right-wing attitude that creates a sense of comfort and makes people lean into those biases because it is very comfortable. Like right-wing commentary gives you comfort. It definitely creates a sense of paranoia. Reactionary opinions do, where you're like constantly afraid of your shadow. You're constantly afraid that, like, you know, God forbid, there might be a trans person lurking around the corner. Oh my God. Right? But outside of that, it's like right-wing commentary gives me zero comfort. Let me fade out. No, right-wing commentary gives a lot of people comfort in the sense that if you grew up thinking, you know, yeah, well, black people are kind of violent, right? Like without ever really examining what you're thinking, because that's all you've seen on television. That's all you've seen with whatever you read. And you haven't really examined where that is coming from. And you have this kind of fear, right? And of course, they're going to have more police presence in their neighborhoods because they just have like a violent culture or whatever. It's much more comforting to hear someone either from an intellectualist framework like Ben Shapiro, who tries to intellectualize this kind of white supremacist thought, or someone from a really dumbed down version of it that is like incredibly racist. Like that reaffirmation of your belief system is what gives people comfort. It actually pisses people off quite a bit when someone checks their previously held biases. They go, whoa, the fuck do you mean that this is directly a consequence of material conditions and systemic racism? This is something that I talk about and think about quite a bit. I actively try to present alternatives to this kind of thought terminating cliche that right-wingers apply in their commentary, a way to say, oh, it's just common sense. Right-wing commentary provides people with an ideological understanding of what is wrong with the world without having to confront the material contradictions of our world that is comforting to many people. Exactly. It is reassuring. Exactly. That's what I mean when I say it's right-wing reactionary sentiment is like a security blanket, because nobody likes change, especially the older they get. The more scared they are of change, because change basically is a sad, scary reminder that you know, the life you've led is no longer the same, and that you're at the end of it, right? You're getting closer and closer to the end of your life. And people are afraid of that. So societal changes, they meet societal changes with like a lot of anger and a lot of fear, because it's a constant reminder that like maybe they're getting older and the things that they took for granted are no longer the same. And that in and of itself, I think that in and of itself is enough for a lot of people to resist it. That in and of itself is enough for a lot of people to resist change and also shoot the messenger. In this case, I would be the messenger. If I wasn't as stubborn as I am, and if I didn't have as much pride as I do, I probably would have, you know, moderated and sheltered people from my actual perspectives. Because I know how to make content that is just like fun, collabs, things of that nature, you know, go out, play basketball, rizz up girls, that sort of thing. And it's fun. It's like, I enjoy doing stuff like that as well. I could just as easily do content in that vein as well, rather than what I'm doing right now. Damn, Matt Lieb is turning on you. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, he's right though. Unbelievable that the New York Times would platform a guy who, amongst his countless other crimes, isn't even as tall as me. Is true. Matt is taller than me. I'm 6'4". He's like 6'8" or something. It's crazy. He's like 6'7". I don't know how tall he is, but he's definitely taller than me. And I asked him. That's the first thing I asked him when I met him. I was like, "Damn, bro, you're tall as fuck. Do you play basketball?" He's like, "Nah." What a waste, dude. You know who else wasted being 6'7"? Osama bin Laden, dude. That's right. Matt Lieb, Osama bin Laden. Pretty much the same guy. Both 6'7", both didn't use that height for basketball. I need your take on 100 men versus one gorilla discourse. I saw a statement from Christian Divine that actually changed my mind on this, but I thought that one gorilla could fucking destroy 100 men. But Christian Divine had some really interesting takes on this. I thought we were going to say both base. It was already anticipating the storm coming. No. 10 men versus one gorilla is a better argument. Nah, 100 men is too many men. At least 70 men are dying. Nah. All right, we have this.
Now, because I think we're quite deep inside what are called the Palestinian territories.
This is Louis Theroux. For those of you who don't know, he's an incredible documentarian. And apparently, he did a documentary on the settlers in the West Bank. I am very excited to watch it. He's fantastic. We've watched a bunch of his other docos, and you're in for a treat. I suspect if he goes actually pretty crazy, I suspect that if he goes after Israel pretty hard on this, which I assume he will, because Israel is fairly irredeemable,
because I think we're
that they might even take this documentary down potentially. I mean, it is about occupied Palestinian territories in the West Bank, so that is definitely more appropriate. That's more permissible in the Western world. Your takes today have been questionable, not gonna lie. About what? Yeah, BBC literally banned the last doco on Palestine, but that, to be fair, that was in Gaza. That's what I mean. I haven't even gotten to the takes yet. I doubt it. Louis Theroux communicates very well with the freaks. I feel like he'll just let them speak out and say some heinous shit unprovoked. Yeah, dude, I love hearing the authentic. I love hearing the authentic Middle Eastern accent. Okay, I love to hear it. It's beautiful. You know, the authentic accent of the Levant. A man from Long Island.
Israel now.
No politic. Israel number one. Israel high. No politic here.
I was close to Israel's southern border.
Bro, straight up. Like, obviously Zionism is a fascist ideology. It's exterminationist. It's built around ethno-religious supremacy. And I think that's part of the reason why, like, the more invested you get in this framework and the more invested, like, the more loyal of a soldier you become in this cause, the more unimaginably annoying you become to the average person. Like, sure, I already have a lot of calcified resentment as a consequence of being someone who is an advocate for Palestinian emancipation for the past decade. But I think, like, the average person that has not really thought about this stuff at all, when they see something like this, they go, what the fuck are you saying and doing? You know what I mean? Because this is almost medieval. Like some of the advocacy is like only stuff that you have seen in history books, you know? Like I'm thinking about the average person, and some of you can actually explain to me because you are this person that I'm talking about, right? Like, or you were this person that I'm talking about. Like, there is a moment for many of you in this chat where it clicked, where you went, oh my God, is this guy just fucking saying what I think he's saying? And I feel like I feel like there is that moment in the hearts and minds of a lot of people in the Western world where like they had a moment where they were just like, oh dude, this is completely untenable. You know, this is so gross. Like even on the aesthetics side of things, even not necessarily just the output, but more so just like the arrogance and the entitlement that is presented by a lot of the people that defend this project, where for many, I think it was Jacob, that I think he was also from Long Island, ironically enough, that straight up stole the backyard and in the outhouse of the Al-Kurd family in occupied East Jerusalem, in Sheikh Jarrah. And that video, I think, played a major role in people's attitudes changing, where they just saw this guy being like, well, if I don't steal it, somebody else will. like there are moments like that I think are pivotal for a lot of people when they see it. So I guess the point that I'm making is, you know, the greatest warrior for the anti-Zionist cause is Michael Rappaport. The greatest warrior for the anti-Zionist cause is Amy Schumer. The greatest warrior for the anti-Zionist cause is Rabbi Shmuley. It's just people who are so insane that have completely lost their minds and don't even try to present like a reasonable position. Because I think when people see stuff like that, when people see like Michael Rappaport spitting on a microphone, crying about how he can't get a job in Hollywood anymore because he's too pro-Israel, that is, to the average person, first they go, dude, why should I give a fuck about you getting a job? Okay? You're a Hollywood actor. I don't give a shit about that. The second question that those people also have is, what do you mean you are you saying Hollywood is anti-Jew? Am I hearing what you are putting out there correctly? Like Hollywood is anti-Israel. It's anti-Semitic and anti-Israel, Hollywood. It's like, you're not going to be able to convince a lot of people that aren't already drinking the same fucking Kool-Aid with that kind of attitude. You know what I mean? So I think videos like this do actually play an active role in causing people to just have that wake up moment where they go, oh my God, this is so ridiculous.
Tourists were surveying the ruins of Gaza. The Palestinian death toll at this point was more than 43,000 and rising.
Like, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Like, good luck with this argument. Okay. Oh shit. Oh, I didn't even realize the Bible says this belongs to you. Fuck, my bad. Oh, I guess we should all collectively turn a blind eye to the pogroms that are being committed against the Palestinians in the West Bank now, that is defended by the Israeli occupying force and also defended by the United States of America. Shit. I didn't realize because the Bible says it. Apparently it works. No, it doesn't. It does not. If you think that like people in the highest levels of power look at this argument and go, hell yeah, that's precisely why I'm defending Israel, you are delusional. It works in two different ways, as I've talked about before. The materialist argument, obviously, is like Israel's long favored client state status as an incredibly important unsinkable aircraft carrier with its own espionage facilities. It's also a place where you can try out all of the coolest new technology of murdering children that Western countries will inevitably use. Surveillance strategies upon a captive population that Western countries will inevitably use as well. The greatest example of this is post 9/11. Every fucking podunk backwater town in America got training from the Israeli occupying force on counterterrorism initiatives and things of that nature. Like, what the fuck do you think that was? But ultimately, there's also another side to this story as well, which is, you know, a lot of influence peddling, a lot of moneyed interest, a lot of lobbying initiatives, a lot of NGOs that are propped up, a lot of organizations that masquerade as Jewish advocacy organizations that have nothing to do with advocacy for Jews at all. Like, one of the most prominent examples of this, obviously, is the Apartheid Defense League, the ADL, that masquerades as an institution that is a civil rights organization that combats anti-Semitism, when in fact, not only throughout its history, they have straightforwardly and openly got caught surveilling and spying on Jewish organizers alongside civil rights protesters and black organizers that were protesting against apartheid South Africa, which Israel obviously was aligned with. But also, even to this day, they very actively play this role by changing the metrics of anti-Semitism by logging every single time someone says, like, from the river to the sea, Palestine would be free, including right now, as an anti-Semitic incident, while also simultaneously defending Elon Musk's Roman salute. Elon Musk Sig Heils twice. The ADL comes out and defends him. Why? Because Elon is pro-Israel. They very lightly criticize the Trump administration every now and then, barely actually criticize the Trump administration, because the Trump administration is giving these organizations everything that they want. So, point is, there's a lot of influence peddling in this process too, and it's been very effective. It's been very effective. It's by way of colleges, by way of you know, having these NGOs throw events, banquets, fundraise for politicians, bring media members on board. That's it. It's a very sophisticated network of constant consent manufacturing. But in spite of all of that, I need you to understand, you cannot massage away a live streamed child Holocaust. You can try and ban TikTok because it shows it, right? But at the end of the day, people see it and they're like, this is horrifying. I am forever changed. And that's precisely how the favorability of Israel as the most moral nation in the Middle East, the best democracy, has gone from 80% approval amongst Americans only pre-October 7, like 2 years ago, to 53% unfavorable. 53% of Americans, the overwhelming majority, if not damn near entirety of the Democratic Party's base of support, now views Israel unfavorably. That is with all of the network of propaganda, and that is with all of these major outlets presenting Israel's unlimited violence against children, a captive population of mostly children, as a totally appropriate measure. That's why I jokingly say all the time that if, like, the New York Times and CNN was actually covering Israel's actions in the same way that they cover Russia's actions in Ukraine, you would have grandmas talking about how they want to join Hamas, okay? Like, I'm telling you, if mainstream media across the board was not actively trying to engage in advocacy for Israel and contextualize all of that violence as they do with direct envoys, like with, you know, foreign ministry people coming on board on the Jake Tapper show to be like, we are killing these children because they are Hamas and they are terror children. You know what I mean? Like, right as Israel does yet another bombing campaign on a fucking orphanage. You know, you got Jonathan Concuncrius on the Jake Tapper show being like, we had to do it because they are Hamas. They have copy of Adolf Hitler, Mein Kampf. Like, if they didn't do any of that shit, can you imagine if they, by the way, can you imagine Jake Tapper doing that by having like a Kremlin agent come on and be like, yes, we had to blow up orphanage because orphanage had lots of neo-Nazi, anti-Russian sentiment. Like, can you just close your eyes for a second and think, Russia the other day killed 12 people in Kiev in the midst of a ceasefire conversation. Imagine Jake Tapper hosting a dude from a dude directly that works with the Russian government, go on CNN to be like, well, this is Azov Hospital. This is hospital for children, but these children learn about Azov Battalion. They are Nazi. They are neo-Nazi. We are trying to denazify. We are trying to denazify Kiev by blowing hospital, blowing child hospital. I have a copy. I have a copy of Adolf Hitler, Mein Kampf, that they are reading in hospital, and all the children. That's why they had to die. Like, there were Azov tunnels under hospital. Like, that would never happen. That would be ridiculous. That would be fucking ridiculous. Yeah, this is a calendar of Nazi. Look, you see? Cyrillic. It says this is terror calendar. Fucking bullshit.
It's a Jewish day.
What's your name?
Aaron.
Aaron, nice to meet you. Louis, where are you from?
I'm from Hebron.
And before that?
Unironically, they have done this. I know. But it's Russian propaganda channels that do this. It's not CNN that does this. That's my point. My point is, it's Russian propaganda channels that do this for their own audience. Do you not understand? Very different than having supposedly the Western world reflect that kind of. I mean, look, she's an open, out and about evil terrorist. Like, it is so insane because, like, she has been so consistently evil for most of her adult life. It's wild because, like, when I think about fascinating conversations that take place, like in the old Vice documentaries, like talking to cannibal warlords or whatever, right? Like, a lot of those people are also obviously convinced that they're doing the right thing. Okay? But those people don't have the same level of access to resources, or even like free travel to the United States of America or to European countries, right? It's like, that's what makes this so different. I think that's what makes this so different. Like, you're not talking to someone who thinks their cause is just, but also has basically never left his home country and has no capacity to develop like a broader perspective about the ways in which he or she operates. Like, these people have the internet. They can fucking Google shit. You know what I mean? They're not. It's so strange to be able to watch someone who is so unable to self-reflect, who is so convinced of their cause, so convinced of their mission, that she doesn't even feel any shame whatsoever. I feel like that's orientation, war crimes committed in countries that aren't Western aligned. Yeah, also, make no mistake, this is not about Gaza. She's talking about, I mean, she has the same smoke for Gaza too, but she's talking about fucking, she's talking about West Bank right here. Yeah, like an African warlord was very likely born into horrific conditions who became a soldier as a child. They have no real choice about where they were born or how they live. A settler purposely stealing land and doing ethnic cleansing is a special kind of evil. Yeah, exactly. It's like you weren't born into fucking violence. You know what I mean? You chose it. Like, you chose it. You could have just fucked off and lived in Boca Raton for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? But you chose to be, you chose to do this settler colonial enterprise in an area that is not yours, like that does not belong to you. You are violently engaging in pogroms, actively dehumanizing the indigenous population, only to shore up your ranks and bring more loyal soldiers to the cause that will also then blow up Palestinian homes and farmland and then resettle them with other people that are also, once again, coming from the United States of America and other places. I feel like the reaction comes more from seeing this as being committed by Westerners. I think there is that element to it too, yes, because they are functionally Westerners. Like, that is true. Like, this person is someone who probably has immediate family members that live in the United States of America, for example. You know what I mean? Like, this is not like it comes across like a deliberate choice that you have actively partook in, where you should know better. Like, you have the capacity to see that your actions are abhorrent, morally repugnant. Yeah, she wasn't born in Nazi Germany. She is making Nazi Germany, is a good take on this as well. Yes.
Says that
Her parents are from Warsaw, not to play devil's advocate, but it's a little bit anti-Semitic to say she could have spent her life in Boca Raton. Yes, the woman is purely evil, but this depth of this propaganda that comes from generational Holocaust trauma. Yeah, okay. There's plenty of people who are also direct victims of the Holocaust, survivors of the Holocaust, like Gabor Mate, who haven't turned into people who are like, let's do our own Holocaust, the random people who didn't fucking do the Holocaust to us. Like, I get it. I understand this. I understand this very well. I talk about it quite a bit, as a matter of fact, in terms of like the role that the Holocaust has played in Zionism, in Zionist conditioning. I understand it. When I say she could just fuck off and live in Boca Raton, that is not me being anti-Semitic. It's not like she has nowhere to go. She could very easily, I have not looked into this person's background at all. But if you think that this person does not have freedom of travel, if she wasn't a fucking rabid settler terrorist, if you think that this person does not have the freedom of movement and freedom of travel afforded to her that is not afforded to many, none of the Palestinians that she's fucking dominating, you'd be delusional. That's what I mean when I say she could just like fuck off and live in the United States of America or anywhere else. And that is not just, that was more so to juxtapose her position and why it comes across as even more insane than hearing like horrific, monstrous things and justifications for their actions from someone who was born into a tribal territory or a village, and then all he knew was being kidnapped and being forced into conscription in some random brigade, and then worked up the ranks and became a fucking cannibal warlord. Like, that is the comparison I'm making. I think you can understand that there's a difference between a guy like that, right, and a woman like this in terms of the what is this? Hey Hassan, how's the Qatari money treating you? It's fucking sweet, to be honest. It's so dope. All of my subscribers are from Qatar. All of them. That's right. Anytime somebody subscribes, just know that it's another person from Qatar. All the gifted subs also from Qatar. I like that this is the new version of the George Soros. This is the liberal. Republicans will come in here, MAGA hogs will come in here and be like, how's that George Soros money treating you, bitch? And liberals will come in here and be like, how's that Qatari money treating you? It's the same fucking idiocy. Liberals, of course, think that they are above the conservatives. They think that they're smarter than the conservatives, and yet here they are falling into the same intellectual trappings. I am funded by you, the chatters, you, the community, the Rum King. I'm funded by Chuck Dies, who just gifted 50 gifted subs, or Hassan's Art of the Deal, who just gifted 5 gifted subs, or by Moon, who just gifted 5 gifted subs. Your loser chat is screaming, caught. Like, I didn't just at you. You didn't at me. You just said, hey, Hassan. But also, I think people that spend their Sundays watching a content creator that they enjoy are probably elevated in their status than a guy who's watching a content creator who they despise, don't you think? Only to come in and fantasize about how I must be funded by Qatar. Deb Butterfly and that boy Dan is live, and SF Dubs and none of your biz and Vil Morgar, thank you for the 10. Decoy 166, thank you for the 5. The Rum King, thank you for the 5. You highlight your name in your chat, you narc. Ha ha ha. I think that's automatic on Chatterino, but I don't know why we're talking about the basics of how Chatterino works. Yeah, unlimited Qatar funding coming from Muhammad too with the 10 community gifted subs. I hope you have a great day. Burgles with a 50 and Zylax with 100. Oh, holy Toledo. Chatterino, more like Qatarino. Yep, that's right. Chatter is going to encounter someone who also has the same exact opinions as me, who thinks like Israel is an apartheid state doing a genocide, which is the truth, right? And be like, oh, well, this person also must be funded by Qatar. Yeah. Arabs rule the media. Arabs rule the media. Hassan rules the media. Hamas and Hezbollah. Thank you for my lovers and haters setting off a massive sequence of hype trains every time. Let's continue.
Does that really
He
explain
doesn't
it?
like me because I have a lot of influence, much more than he is.
Influence over who?
The young generation.
Don't care at all.
By the way, this is why I don't have the same level of smoke that like a bad empanada style has. There's internal drama in every movement. including the Palestinian emancipatory cause as well. But this is the reason why I will always promote, no other land and things of that nature, or even groups that actually participate, groups that have Israelis in them, like Jews that put their bodies in between the Israeli occupying force, using Jewish supremacist attitudes to their advantage to become a shield, to allow Palestinians to have even a fucking brief moment of humanity. I wouldn't say Ombim Be'achad is one of those groups. I feel like they're more so standing together is a group in Israel. This is different. This is like the B'Tselems of the world, or even like the Yuval Abrahams of the world. Some Palestinians see that as like normalizing Israeli collaboration, and say, because like it is a part of BDS technically. BDS, the Palestinian National Committee, actually criticized it. You're engaging in Jewish exceptionalism? No, dude. I'm engaging in a fucking understanding of what is actually happening and unfolding. You also, here's why it's annoying, because you do not live there. You probably aren't even fucking Palestinian. You're just chirping because an Argentinian man, or sorry, initially an Australian man chirped about it on their fucking YouTube essay, okay? And yes, some Palestinians do feel like this is Jewish exceptionalism. Others do not. I mean, Palestinians themselves said it. I know.
Doing right now?
The army has said
Work.
there is no positive.
The idea seemed to be to...
Wait, is this the rabbi that said rape is okay? Is this the rape rabbi? Let me look it up. There's more than one, I know, but there was one that was like, there was a rabbi, the IDF chief rabbi was like, it's okay to do rapes to the Palestinians because you're doing war. I think it was the IDF chief rabbi. Israel Army names new chief rabbi criticized over rape comments from 2016. Rabbi Colonel Eyal Karim implied that such an act was permissible in an answer to a religious website. Israeli military chief rabbi designate under fire over remarks on rape. He clarified that in 2012, his words had been taken out of context and that rape was forbidden in any situation, but his appointment, which requires the defense minister's approval, was condemned by a top female politician. He's not the only one. In any case, this is the IDF Brigadier General Eyal Karim. Son, how do I convince the radical people I meet that this is not made in the name of Judaism after all of this? I mean, look, if you're Jewish, then it's pretty simple. You're like, I'm Jewish and I fucking despise this shit. It's no different than Saudi Arabia presenting itself as a beacon of Islam, or ISIS presenting itself as a defender of the caliphate. Yeah, you can have a bunch of fucking freaks say a bunch of freakish shit. Here is a Haaretz article on Dov Lior. If Rabbi Dov Lior were Muslim, Israel probably would have assassinated him. But the religious leader who calls for murder has support even from moderates. What a fucking title. That is insane. Sometimes one advertisement is enough to make everything clear. On Sunday, the day before the 18th anniversary of Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin's assassination, an advertisement appeared in this paper about Rabbi Dov Lior. It wasn't an ad calling for him to be indicted. Rather, it was a statement of sweeping support for the great Rabbi Lior. May he live long and happy, calling him a teacher of tens of thousands, and attacking the Knesset member who dared say something negative about Lior and thereby merited having someone spit in his face. It was signed by 105 important rabbis who received their salaries from the state. Top Israeli rabbi blesses soldier accused of Gaza rape. Oh, this is what I was thinking of. Yeah, this is, there was also the minister of the Knesset from Benjamin Netanyahu's own party that literally was like, yeah, of course these guys are going to do some rapes. Like, that's fine. That's totally allowed. They can do anything they want to the Palestinian terrorists. He said that in an emergency Knesset meeting because the government were prosecuting 6 rapist concentration camp guards. Dude, religious guy, by the way, religious figure saying we must ethnically cleanse all of Gaza and all of Lebanon from camel riders. Just a cool religious figure, Who do you think is the most despicable nation in the world? At first I thought, oh my God, Dov Lior is one of the most prominent and influential rabbis within the religious Zionism sector and in Israel in general. He's also one of the most racist, messianic, and nationalistic ones. Lior serves as Jewish Power Party's rabbi and held several official positions within the state's religious establishment over the years. Frankly, he's one of the most dangerous people in Israel these days. This is from November 1st, 2024. Who do you think is the most despicable nation in the world? First, I thought black people. I won't say what he said. I'll just simply say he said black people. He says something different. The Maharal in The Eternity of Israel says the Arabs. He brings it from Chazal, proves it with Ketubot. They are the most despicable. Yeah, they are the Jewish KKK, by the way. They're just like straightforward Jewish Klansmen. I've never fully understood just how much Western media runs cover for these evil ghouls until this moment. This is pure insanity. Yeah, maybe if you're watching, for those of you who are coming in here sporadically, watching from afar, who will hear something I say in a heated moment and be like, damn, that seems a little bit far-fetched. Maybe my favorite content creator is right. Maybe you are a radical. If you sit through, this is literally but a fraction of what we have covered over the course of the past year and a half. But if you sit through even one fucking documentary like this, you will very quickly understand that I'm actually a very moderate person, okay? Very moderate and very reasonable person I'm simply responding to what the fuck I'm seeing.
That's all.
That's all.
Bro,
Don't reach.
Would you say
1 million?
I do need you to understand, by the way, like this is Zionism through and through. This is the most pure, unadulterated version of Zionism. So when people go, oh, dude, it's different. Like, it's not like that. It's not like that. These guys are just like rabid extremists. It's like, no. As long as the government of Israel defends these fucking freaks and doesn't stop them, then this is what Israel is. Okay? How can you say this isn't what Israel is all about when these guys have led the charge every single day for the past 48 fucking years, dude? Not 48, sorry, for the past 76 fucking years. People with this kind of attitude is exactly what started the nation state of Israel to begin with. This is all Israel is about. Anyone who doesn't recognize that reality, anyone who doesn't recognize that she is the true face of Zionism, is deluding themselves. They're just ashamed of having any sort of loyalty or any sort of love for this fascist regime and this fascist agenda, this ethno-religious superiority argument, this exterminationist policies of an ethno-supremacist fascist ideology. A lot of people have this tendency to compartmentalize the West Bank as an apartheid, and it's somehow totally separate. Okay, they're like, oh, this is the West Bank, this is separate, like Israel proper is different. It's like, no, it's not different. It's not different at all. Because where the fuck are the soldiers coming from? Where are the soldiers coming from that actually go to the West Bank and defend these settlers? Where are they coming from? They're coming from Israel proper. That's it. If you don't believe that the baker and the nurse and the teacher that lived right next door to fucking Auschwitz didn't realize what was going on, and if you believe that that baker, that nurse, that teacher was also morally culpable for the Holocaust, then you have to understand that, yes, Israeli Jews living in Israel proper are also exhibiting that exact same moral culpability. Maybe it's not the same as the dude in the fucking military gear that goes and presses the button in the gas chambers. That person is a much higher level of moral culpability. But those who turn a blind eye to these atrocities are also still morally culpable. We are morally culpable here in the United States of America for not being able to put an end to this when we very clearly could put an end to this. A major difference here also is that there were suspicions that the concentration camps were engaging in assassinations, okay? Like ethnic cleansing. But those were still suspicions because the fucking internet hadn't been invented yet. Today, you're watching a Holocaust unfold against primarily children in fucking broad daylight in real time. You can talk to the people that are experiencing this Holocaust. You can talk to them directly online They beg for your attention. They're trying to survive. They can open up accounts to try to do GoFundMe initiatives to try to get their children out some way, somehow. That's what's different. That's what makes it even more repugnant in some ways, regardless of the fact that the numbers are not the same, right? Like morally repugnant from our perspective, by the way, like our lack of interest, our moral culpability due to our complacency. I don't understand. I don't understand how people can just like live on every single day as though it's perfectly normal. It's not normal at all. If I can move one person in the direction of recognizing the depravity that Israel is partaking in, then I'm at least like trying to do something, anything, you know what I mean? And I feel the same way for you, all of you. You convince one of your family members and then they confuse. You get one of your family members to understand the truth of the matter, and then they convince others. And that's how this movement grows. But there's nothing else you can do.
To 2 million. So this is the next step. This is my vision.
Yeah, when you separate Israel proper from the rest of what is happening, literally, like saying white areas in apartheid South Africa were not apartheid, the existence of those areas is the fucking point. People who just defend them are on the side of the privileged, the ones who have all the rights and are willing to live under a violent state to keep that level of being in the in-group. Exactly. That's precisely what it is. People get so ass mad whenever I fucking bring up the ANC comparisons, by the way. They get so pissed. They're like, how dare you compare ANC to Hamas? Like, what the fuck? It's like, oh, I'm sorry that they don't have like, I'm sorry that like the people that did collaborate with the ANC are now dead. They were killed by Israel, and Hamas is the only game in town remaining.
It's so complicated.
Daniela's vision has been made.
Meets a tiny handful of unrepresentative extremists, ignores the 500,000 Jews living in Judea, and totally forgets to look at all the illegal Palestinian activity in Area C. Bro, you can't say Judea while simultaneously acting like you are above these supposed extremists. You said the same thing that they're saying. Yes, Judea and Samaria is a labeled parody account. Yeah, just like my fucking Hasanabi heads, some of them have their accounts labeled as parody accounts so they don't get blocked or they don't get banned. Palestinianism is Nazism. A woman is an adult human female. Moscow has subverted the right. Doha has subverted the left. No, this is a fucking pro-Natsec U.S. right-winger that's anti-trans. Area C is this, okay? This is the different areas that Israel does not fully occupy. It's different areas. Areas B and C and A are different parts of the West Bank because it's all been sectioned off like this through settlements. You see? All the purple dots and all the purple squares on this map are settlements and the settlement outposts. They are Bantustans, similar to apartheid South Africa, that have cordoned off. He's here in Hebron. They're completely surrounded, if you noticed, by design, by Jewish settlements.
They do it slowly, but now they are speeding up. They want approval from their allies and their partners.
Yeah, it should be mentioned that the reason there is illegal activity in Area C is because Israel denies over 90% of the permits on Palestinian land to the Palestinians, by the way.
Is it worth going through to see the other side?
Yes, I can
see
show
what
you.
it
Are those settlements illegal? Yes, every single one of them. Every single thing that Israel has built here is completely illegal. It's not just the settlements, by the way. They build settlements and then they build military outposts on top of the settlements, as you can see from the designation of square versus circle. And then they build roads and then they build walls. They basically partition off the green areas or the light green areas where there's full Palestinian civil control but joint Israeli-Palestinian security control. The full green areas differ also in terms of full Palestinian civil and security control, because the full Palestinian civil and security control in these green areas, like in the places like Hebron, also are conducted by the Palestinian Authority, I don't know if, I think Hebron as well, but a lot of these places, with the exception of like Jenin and Tulkarm, are almost completely controlled by the Palestinian Authority, which is an arm of the Israeli security apparatus. Tulkarm and Jenin have their own Palestinian militaries, they're spontaneous militias, which Israel routinely fucking fights back against. And by that, I mean like they unjustifiably and illegally go into these cities and blow them up and kill as many people as they possibly can because they have their own standing militia forces. According to the Oslo Accords, Area A is PA security control law, Area B is PA and IDF, and Area C is only IDF. Hebron is split into H1 and H2. Also, all of these areas are just completely controlled by Israel, by the way. The different areas have differences in whether PNA or IOF manage security and whether people are under Palestinian or military law, but either way, it's all different flavors of Israel, with the only difference being who oppresses you harder. Exactly. Hebron is under PA authority in Area A, where he's standing in the dock right now, is the line into H2, and that becomes the Israeli settlement. Very weird area to live in. How are people supposed to live like this? Is inhumane? Yeah. Welcome. Welcome to the most anti-Semitic thing you could think and the most anti-Semitic position you can take. Welcome to the real world. You know? You say stuff like that, people are going to come after you and they're going to say you're being fucking anti-Semitic. Yes, the Palestinian Authority in and of itself is also a part of the Israeli security apparatus. The Palestinian Authority, for example, in areas like Jenin and Tulkarm, where there are spontaneous Palestinian militias, okay, that exercise their sovereignty and their autonomy on their own ancestral land, for the record, doing something that is totally not only moral, but also legal under international law, the Palestinian Authority will go and find some of the key figures within these movements, within these militias, and will literally fucking torture them themselves. They will go, kidnap, arrest, and torture Palestinian militia members at the behest of Israel. They will also routinely, again, arrest Palestinians as a whole. They will arrest Palestinians that they simply don't like, Palestinians that they think are too radical. This is the Palestinian Authority. There's a reason why the Palestinian Authority is the second least popular entity in the region. The number one least popular entity in the region, of course, is the Israeli occupying force, Israel in general. But the second least popular entity in the area is the Palestinian Authority. It's a close parallel. Is a close second to how unfavorable Israel is in the eyes of the Palestinian population. This is part of the reason why the Palestinians in the West Bank actually show more favor to Hamas than they do the Palestinian Authority. They actually have a more positive outlook of Hamas. Palestinians in the West Bank have a more positive outlook on Hamas than the Palestinians in Gaza do. Part of the reason for why they have this attitude is because they don't live under Hamas control. They don't know exactly what complications that might arise from.
Yes.
This is part of the reason why I think this is really important for a lot of you guys here in the Western world to watch and understand, because many people are just not equipped. They don't know what the truth is. They've never seen it. They don't understand it. And it kind of like when guy only talks about Israel, Palestine, buddy, there's other things going on. There are. You can go watch the other things that are going on then. I mean, I just chose to watch this documentary from one of my favorite documentarians. I don't know why that pisses you off so much. Well, I do know why that pisses you off so much. For many Americans, when I talk about this kind of stuff by looking at like B'Tselem reports, you don't fully understand how fucked up this stuff is, right? When you see it, though, you develop a different attitude. You start to kind of recognize why I say that a two-state solution is impossible. Because this is the two-state solution. It's actually not a real two-state solution. This is a one-state solution. That one state is the Israeli state. That's why I say abolish the apartheid, okay? End the occupation, abolish the apartheid. The pathway towards that might create like a binational two-state with two separate leaderships that would inevitably merge into one state or whatever the fuck. But ultimately, this is the reason why I say that there can never really be a full-blown two-state solution. This is also precisely, yes, you're right. This is also precisely why Ta-Nehisi Coates, who had previously written favorably about Israel without ever actually visiting or without ever actually understanding the depravity of Israel, said he knew exactly what it was the moment he saw it. It's so visceral. As soon as he landed in the West Bank and laid eyes upon the apartheid in all of its depravity, he was like, oh, this is it. This is it. That's what's going on. Like, I know exactly what this is. I read about this in history books.
Louis.
It still blows my mind that there's more evangelicals in America that believe in Megiddo than there are Jews on earth. Yes. Like 10 times more, almost. All right, bro, shut up. Okay, enough. Enough spamming. We got it, dude. Okay? Please. Jesus Christ, dude. We got it. Oh, my God. I didn't give him a week off. I gave him an hour off to fucking cool down. Not on apartheid. W Israel. Yeah, no, this person's being sarcastic.
Hang on, but I don't think we're in Israel.
Huh?
Are we in Israel?
What is Megiddo? Am I walking into a joke or a real world? Megiddo is a real place, guys. It's just the Battle of Megiddo is what people believe is going to, like, evangelical Christians believe that once all the Jews are sent to Israel, they don't say how, by the way, just so you fully understand. They don't say like, oh, they have to go there on their own volition, for the record. But once all the Jews are in Israel and all of that land belongs to the chosen sons and daughters of God, the Jews, the rapture will happen. All of the diabetic evangelicals from their mobility scooters will be sucked into the heavens, okay, for being good evangelical Christians. All the Jews will die, of course, with the exception, I believe, of like, what, 10% of Jews that will convert on the spot to evangelical Christianity. Everyone else will, 100,000 Jews, sorry, will convert to evangelical Christianity. 100,000. That's the max. Again, very pro-Jew. This rabid apocalyptic Christian cult that has 100 million Americans believing in it has a very, very cool and very pro-Jew stance. Okay? The theological justification here is once that happens, it triggers the rapture. People get fucking sucked into the heavens, the evangelical Christians do. You know, like all of the worst people that you've met. You know, your uncle that's like maybe a pedophile that you suspect of being a pedophile because he gets real weird around your you know, when you were in high school, he got real weird around your friends. Like that guy is going to heaven. He's getting sucked into the heaven because he's a Trump supporter. Okay. Anyway, all those guys are going to heaven. Jesus Christ is coming back to earth, not getting killed, by the way, not getting killed as a undocumented brown migrant that wants to do communism. So he's evading that somehow. Because if he comes back to earth and he's in America, they're going to kill him, for the record. Like, he's instantly clapped. Americans would kill Jesus with hammers if given the opportunity, okay? So hopefully Jesus doesn't go to CCOT and doesn't get killed with hammers by these evangelical Christians that are so good. And he leads the army of good against the army of evil. The army of evil is, Iran, like all Muslims, World Economic Forum, like all those guys, okay? They're all a part of the army of Satan. So they go and they duke it out in Megiddo. They battle it out. Jesus' armies, Jesus is the commander of the armies, and they're fucking battling it out in Megiddo. And basically, in that process, like, you know, all of the non-evangelical Christians, they burn in hell in eternal damnation, in hellfire. It's kind of funny because, like, what I'm describing to you sounds like the plot of an anime, but it's like a very real thing that people believe. It's not an anime. This is the reason why when you go to Texas and you look at the parking lot of a fucking ugly ass mega church and you see these like king ranchers, and on the one side you got a Blue Lives Matter sticker, and on the other side you got like an Israeli flag next to an American flag. You're like, why the fuck? Why? What is this? What is this obsession? Like, what's going on here? That's the reason why. because that's what they're talking about in the mega church. Straight up. Too many new viewers. We need to watch Mega Doodoo again. I know. I have watched some Christian flicks back in the day, some evangelical Christian flicks back in the day that they've shot to showcase how the rapture would happen. But yeah, if you're wondering why like some of the most anti-Semitic people that you've ever encountered are also insanely pro-Israel, this is why.
You're in Israel now?
Are we?
Yes.
In the West Bank? No? In the north of the West Bank, I was heading back to the settlement of Eviatar,
What the fuck?
where I'd been
This is
hosted by
Megiddo 1
Malkiel,
and
the horse
2.
wrangler. Since my visit, I'd learned a little more about the settlement's relations with its neighboring Palestinian town of Beitar. How Beitar had
People. That's it. So now I continue.
I hoped you pushed me back.
And so I said goodbye to Daniela and her extreme
Someone gave her a good talking to. She was sounding too unhinged in Western media interviews. Yeah, but she's gonna. The funniest thing is like, she's gonna turn around. She's gonna fucking turn around and immediately start chirping again in front of cameras again. As long as she's in front of a bunch of rabid settlers, bro. They want to murder Louis Theroux so bad right now. Yeah, I hope you push me back.
Damn, this guy's good.